Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All the stuff we didn't get to during the course of the show today. We're going to flip the script a little bit, do things a little bit differently here, and let Betty Rock go first. I do have to ask you this, Rock, because I'm like, hey, would you like to do your story first? You're like, yes, I would. Like, very eager. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Like, what is going first? How does that change your mentality? Is it because you're awake for it? What is it that you like to go first in Aftercast with your story?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Is it a control thing?
No, clearly it's not that.
No.
I think that when you start off,
yes,
you do like 8 stories, it feels like sometimes, because you feel like the Aftercast needs to be a certain length.
Right.
And I think you go very long and then get on a soapbox. Mm-hmm. And I'm just waiting to get to my story.
Oh.
And so if I can get to mine first, I know that it's already done and out of the way. Okay. And then you know how much time you have left over during the Aftercast.
Right.
So maybe you don't have to get to that 9th story.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see how quickly we can get through yours, because I got 2
That's not the
soapboxers.
goal.
Yeah, that's the goal now.
No, this one, my story is going to put you on a soapbox for sure.
And we're done.
Yeah.
No, go.
Okay, so this one is about Scott Pelley. Now, you may not know who Scott is, but he was a correspondent on 60 Minutes. He was on there since 2004. He was also an anchor for CBS Evening News from 2011 to 2017.
You'd know if you saw him, you'd know who he is.
If you saw him, you know him.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's made his way through CBS and recently was fired, okay? Now, it all came to a peak at their Monday meeting this past Monday.
This is why I don't go to meetings. Because meetings are where you say dumb things and you get in trouble. I mean, it's just I try to minimize all the meetings I can.
Yeah.
Because, like, people will say, oh, we want your feedback. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You do not.
Yeah.
Or at least you don't want it the way I'm going to do it.
Right. Well, and they may have said that to Scott, and now they regret it, because I guess he has been perturbed with how the executive producer and new editor-in-chief have been handling things at CBS. And so he let them have it. So according to representatives, he let the executive producer know that his qualifications for the job are quote unquote slender, whatever that means. And then
it's a really politically correct or newsy highbrow way of saying you're not good at your job.
Yeah, you're not qualified.
So good.
Also, the new editor-in-chief of CBS News, Scott, said, "You're murdering 60 Minutes." He even went on to say, quote, "She does not love this place. She was brought in to kill it and is doing exactly that." So after that outburst at Monday's meeting, he was told that he was being fired.
Yeah.
And the executive producer said that he tried and failed to find common ground with Scott and felt like Scott came in hijacking Monday's meeting with, quote, "remarkable incivility and contempt," end quote.
Well, maybe he had a reason for the contempt, and
Scott?
that you're doing it wrong. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with big business and
It's about tone
corporations
and delivery, though.
That is very true, and that is something I'm learning. But the reality is, sometimes you shoot the messenger. So maybe he's saying these things, but instead, because you didn't like the way he said it or the public forum in which he said it, you aren't looking at, is there validity to it? You know, it's like if somebody complains about a manager or whatever, and they fire that person, they're like, well, wait, did this person say something that actually is valid?
Right. Well, I think, it's you shouldn't be talking bad about your boss in front of everyone. It should be brought to the boss first.
Technically,
in a reasonable manner.
Technically, yes, because that's actually biblical, is go to that person. But a lot of bosses are insulated from people below them, and so sometimes a meeting is where you get to like have it out.
I guess, but also too, it could be that Scott is the type, he's like the Wally at CBS News, in that he will say what everyone else is thinking.
The keeper of truth.
And so he has heard what all of his coworkers are saying, but they just won't stand up and say something because they know they'll get fired. And so Scott took one for the team.
Yeah.
But the thing is I think he probably had every good reason to say what he had to say. He probably had some really strong ground to stand on, but he probably didn't deliver it in the best way. As
someone who has done that multiple times in their career,
he also
I
didn't have a
understand
Betty Rock in his life, because there are times where Wally and I have gone to meetings and Wally has said, "I need you to sit beside me.
Please sit with me."
Because he knows he's going to get heated.
Yep.
And if he gets heated, he said, I just need you to like touch my knee, do
just
something,
push-
just tell me to sit down.
We do this
Calm
thing,
down.
like if we're like my friend Gabe started this years ago. Like if you're seeing something happen, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're all seeing this. You seeing this? And you kind of hit the person's leg and you just kind of push on them. And so we do it for those situations or the situations where you're getting worked up. You just kind of push on their leg and you go, okay.
Now
all right.
And I have had to do this before. However, there have also been times where I didn't catch it in time.
Yeah, you were slow. It was on you.
Like one time where I didn't even see it coming.
Ratchet it up.
Something was said, and we were at maybe a 3 on the 10 scale, okay? And I thought, well, he's slowly building himself up.
Yeah.
He's getting angry. But then something was said.
Yeah.
And we ratcheted it up from a 3, skyrocketing to a 12. And Wally
beautiful.
bangs his hands on the table and he goes, you won't stand for it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and I'm too late.
I know you were way too late on that one because I remember the guy. And it's the funny thing about that one is that guy's a friend of mine. Still to this day is a friend of mine. But I'm very passionate about things. And when he told me he wouldn't stand for something, and I'm like, you won't stand for it. Bang on the thing, and I went at him.
That was awkward.
I went at him hard, and but that's the difference too between guys. But it's really hard. I've been in some really, like in mainstream radio, it's just yelling at each other and swearing
It's
and
not
just
healthy.
yeah, okay, but it was what it was, and you got it out of your system, and then you hunkered down and you did the work. Sometimes people can't handle it, and they fear what's going to happen if somebody says something. We're going to have anarchy and mutiny, But,
do you feel like that's what happened here with Scott Pelley?
Yeah, I think he was probably problematic for them, and he was vocal, and they didn't want him to incite other people, because that's what does happen in companies sometimes is you'll get that person that's very vocal, and if they're a leader in the hallways, it can definitely cause problems. And so I understand wanting to get that mitigated as a boss, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But handling somebody like that, it's one of two things. You make them a martyr, or you it's like shooting the guy next to you when they do something wrong. You're like, oh, okay, I dodged a bullet. I guess I'm not going to do that.
What I think is that, Scott started with CBS News back in 1989.
Yeah.
And I think he's kind of like the cockroach that just won't die.
That's me.
Yeah, and so maybe they were looking for ways to get him out, because it does sound like the new editor-in-chief wants to change things up a bit. And they were like, this Scott guy won't let us change things. And so they saw this as the perfect, perfect opportunity for them to get rid of him.
I think disagreeing in a meeting, again, you need to have more respect and more tact.
Respect is key.
I'm getting better at that. I'm not always great at it, but I've actually gotten really, 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 I've improved a lot. And I've had meetings. Full disclosure, I've had meetings here about my attitude with bosses, and they're like, dude, you have so much influence here, and your attitude can turn other people, and you've got to work on that, And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I need to work on my deliveries better. I'm never going to not say what I think, because I think that's important, even if it's contrary to what's, being put forth by even management, because if I've got a different idea or what I think is a better idea, I'm at least going to say it. But now I'm saying it better now. And here's what that buys you. It actually buys you influence. When you say it passionately and you yell, and yes, you may have gotten your point across, but then people don't listen anymore, and you actually don't make any changes.
Right. That's
what I'm learning, and I'm learning from Betty too. If you want to make changes, you have to have a seat at the table, and you have to be respected in that. I will say that this is different than gossip. I know Dave Ramsey's company, gossip is a huge thing there. If you're caught gossiping about anything, you're gone. It's his hot button.
Wow.
And stuff. And so I know other companies like that too, where that's their big thing. And that's a hard thing to navigate, because sometimes what people talk about as gossip is venting. And you're frustrated by something. You don't feel like you can talk to a manager, so you vent about it. But it can cause a workplace to get poisoned a little bit too. But he takes it so seriously that it's a zero tolerance on it. Ultimately, if we were truly running businesses biblically, even in a mainstream company, your you should, if you have a problem with somebody or something, go to that person. And Ramsey's talks about that. I think our boss has talked about that. Don't talk about the person, talk to the person. And so if you're doing that, that's okay. But if you're talking about them to people, I think this is what our CEO Joe said one time that made a lot of sense. If you're talking about something to someone who can't change it, that's the gossip. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really good thing, because then you're venting and you're just both are yelling about something, or whatever. But if you're actually talking to the person that has the power or is invested in it or has a role in it, then it's not gossip. You're actually trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a really good distinction. If more companies took that away, they'd probably have a healthier culture.
Let me ask you a question, and this is more of a psychological question. You've always said you want peace at home in your personal life. That is very important to you.
100%.
I feel that way with my personal life as well as my work life.
Yeah.
Why do you not feel that way with your work life?
Because it's been ingrained in me that a lot of times I know how to do something and I know what I think is the best way to do it. But then when I get into like corporate situations, I think they have a different agenda, and different groups have different agendas. And I don't think that they always match with what I think is the right way to go. And I know there's arrogance in that, but when I feel like I'm getting stopped or thwarted or I'm being pushed to do something I don't think is the best it can be or whatever, then I want to push back on that. And I'm not afraid to push back on that. Now, to your point, do I like having conflict? Absolutely not. I don't want it here either. But I'm not afraid of it at work. I'm afraid of my wife. But like, I'm not afraid of having the conflict or the tough conversation at work. Because, I mean, what are they going to do? Kill me, or fire me? I mean, like, that's...
Well, what's Marty going to do?
Kill me and fire me. And so, like, yeah, she can... That girl can... I watched her dig a hole one time. And I thought, right... I don't know if she did it just to keep me on my toes. She dug a hole like a boss.
And then that side eye that she gave you the whole time.
Man, where'd you learn to dig a hole? Nowhere. Okay. Stop asking questions, precious. All right. And so, yeah, I don't mess with her. But, yeah, that's...
I think there's a mutual respect there. Like, that, and I think you've had to remind yourself that this person wants to look out for me. She is for me, not against me. And that's hard to know when it comes to work.
Because at work, I instantly think people are working against me. That's the 8 in me, the paranoia in me, the ADHD, whatever it is. But that's the thing. Like, if I even remotely feel like someone's working against me, unfortunately, like, I jump right to that's an enemy, and that's not healthy either. I mean, that's not good. Like, that's where I'm like,
that's where Scott Pelley is.
I know, exactly. Like, I have a situation. It's not a crazy bad situation, so I'm not talking out of school. But there was something that happened that I didn't like with another department with some of my content that was changed. And so my initial reaction is to go nuts about that and threaten and like, don't ever do that again, whatever. And I've sat and I didn't react that day. I still even haven't had the meeting yet, but I'm going to have the meeting with the person who is responsible for it, And so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it constructively. This is like the growth for me. Like, I didn't email, I didn't call, I didn't talk trash. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to fix this, and I'm letting the moment recede so that it can be well received.
Yeah.
So that's you've had a big influence on me, Rock. Believe it or not, you actually have. I know this is not great, but it's a better version of me. So, yeah. Speaking of
hey,
things,
wait a minute.
What?
My story took
14 minutes.
Look at that.
Yeah. See?
Hey.
You just owned it. Now I guess we're done with the Aftercast because Betty hogged it all. One other side note on that. Like, the other thing about this with I've written a note down. Like, in media, this is the one thing I learned about media. Like, bosses hate to be challenged in, like, say, radio or TV or whatever. They hate being challenged. But the viewers want you to challenge them. The viewers or the listeners are pulling for you because they live vicariously through you. And so when you share a story of standing up to the man and you didn't take it and you shot that guy down, like, especially in regular radio, people are like, yeah, because they can't do that in their regular life because they know they'll get fired, and they can't afford to lose their job because they're paying for their kids, and stuff. And so they live vicariously through when we would tell these stories of fighting the man, if you will, and it was actually something that it did better for your ratings as, a radio show when you had those, fights. I mean, I literally had a boss who I love this guy goes, don't talk about this on the air in a meeting. I walked out of his room, walked down to the studio, did the break and talked instantly about it. To which the phone rang from him into the studio. And he swore at me and was like, I thought we said not to talk about it. I said, sorry. And, because I knew it was a good thing to do for the show.
That was not here.
No. That was mainstream radio. But the juxtaposition of that is that stuff does not play well here. And that's what I didn't learn early on. And that's why I had so many problems early on. Was I was doing the radio the same way I knew it to work there, but it doesn't work here. Not even just with bosses, but it doesn't work with the listener here. That's why, I love that, the potties understand my rants. And they're like, yeah, more rants. We love them. The mainstream, or not the mainstream, but the radio portion of this, that's a little harder to do. So anyway, well, good job, Rock. I want to get to this story because it was just weird. It's not a long story, but you had followed, as we all did, the Savannah Guthrie mom missing, Nancy Guthrie case.
They never found her.
No, we were just inundated by this on the news. We're all bought in. And I remember watching a guy on TikTok, day 1 of Nancy missing, and he's like, I'm so worried, I'm so scared. Day, 4 of Nancy missing. What's going to happen? I wonder what this is. Day 7 of Nancy missing. And then he's like, and it just progressed. He's like, is that still happening? I don't care. Because that's the news cycle of what happens. We're really worked up about something. And then once it goes on for a while or it drops out of the news cycle, we don't care about it anymore, but Nancy cares about her mom, and where is her mom? It's bizarre.
Savannah,
Savannah. It's bizarre thinking that they still haven't found her since January 31st.
Which is crazy because they have video footage of this guy. Now, given he is wearing a mask, and I think you can only see his eyes, his nose, and his mouth.
And he had a chin, I think he had a chin strap, like a little goatee
But
thing.
you would think that there would be some DNA. There would be, they also tracked down his backpack. They were able to do that.
Because this guy wasn't an amazing criminal either. It's this guy wasn't working. You're not working with the A team of criminals here.
So there's something else.
How did he conceal this crime?
And why? Why her? Why Nancy?
I don't know.
She's older, and what's the point?
The only thing I could figure was extortion. That's the only thing that made sense. But then I don't even remember if they got a ransom note. It was really.
They did.
They did get that. Okay.
Yeah.
It was just bizarre because there are other fake people doing things too, which is just those people just, what is wrong with you? But this was what's really weird. Okay. So I'm reading through news things, and I see the headline for this, and it was so bizarre that they did find bones a few miles from Nancy's house. But they determined that they were not Nancy's bones, but they actually are prehistoric bones from another human being that are said to be around 1,000 years old.
What?
So they made this, they're looking for Nancy, and they find this prehistoric skeleton in the process. How bizarre is that?
That is weird.
And it was found by a YouTuber. Because the YouTube people, they were on the case with this, man. All the sleuths and things like that. So this guy goes out to try and, I think, help with the case or solve it or find it. And he ends up stumbling across a prehistoric body.
That reminds me, I was watching a crime documentary, go figure, classic Betty. And it was about this woman that she was murdered back in the 80s, and they could never find the culprit. And so what they did was they had a whole bunch of cold cases, and that was one of them. And they sent them to the kids that were at the college studying criminology.
Yeah.
And so they gave them 3 cases. And one of them was solved because they halved the whole criminology department into 3 groups.
Yeah.
And these students worked together to try and solve that crime. And they were able to solve it. And I thought to myself, why aren't more police departments doing this? Because they claim that they don't have enough
manpower.
Right. So there's these people. And then you talk about YouTubers.
And they want to solve it.
Right. And you hear about all these mom sleuths that are just at home. You need to empower these people because they can get on your cold cases and they can find something else.
Yeah, really, because if something's just sitting around not being looked at anyway, put some other eyes on it.
Right.
Especially these kids in college that want to learn. This is what they want to do.
It's great practice.
It's real world scenario, and it can have a wonderful payoff for the family.
Well, and too, at the very end of the documentary, these kids that helped solve the crime, they were able to meet the woman's daughter.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the daughter was able to give them a couple of things that belonged to her mom before she passed away. So that's really got to help these students be like, this is what I want to do with my life. I'm helping others.
Yeah.
It's like, why not really use this?
Yeah, I hadn't seen that. Did they make a documentary of it? Or?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
I hadn't seen that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But anyways, all that to say, that's what they should do with Nancy Guthrie.
I know.
Because what the heck is going on?
Send it to somebody, man. This is nuts. I mean, they're still actively working the case, they said, in this article. But again, like anything else, it gets pushed down the back burner until some other lead comes in. I don't know. That's what I don't know about, like, criminology and stuff. Like, how full-time active are you on something when you've just been handed 3 other cases, and so now you're just waiting till a tip comes in, and then you kind of reignite it a little bit, But I feel bad for, like, Savannah still having to live with
just
that.
never know.
That
I mean,
would
you
be
have
horrible.
to assume because
You
her
know it.
heart monitor was
Yeah.
disconnected from the phone, which I guess her phone wasn't with her, so you can't track
She didn't
that.
have her medicine. I mean, you know how this went, but it's sad
They
when you don't have
could-
closure.
I feel like there are so many cases where they have so much less to work with and they figure it out.
Yeah.
And this one, they actually have video footage and they still can't figure
Isn't it weird though? In how I think Savannah Guthrie is like a woman of faith.
Yeah, she is.
Okay, that's what
she's
I
a Christian.
thought.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a ton of that in this, but I thought I remembered a couple of things.
And her mom is too. That's what she had just gotten back from church.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting though, like how when you're in a situation and your prayer changes, for something, because then Savannah and her family are like, Lord, please keep her safe, please protect her, bring her home to us, And so that's what you're praying. And then when it doesn't go that way and she doesn't come home, you're like, oh, gee, all right, well, please, you change your prayer and like, please just let us find her so we have closure, And so your prayer changes as the circumstance changes, and you have to find a new thing and a new way to pray that makes the unimaginable palatable. I know, like with Zach, our first producer, when he had his son Samuel, who they knew he had trisomy 18 and they knew he wasn't going to survive. And so they still went through with the pregnancy, and the prayer was for, hey, a miracle. And I remember going and seeing him in the hospital. He lived longer than they thought he would live. And so I got the call and I went up and saw him. And I mean, like, from the outside, he looked perfect. You're like, oh my gosh, it's a miracle.
Yeah, because he's wrapped in a blanket and
he
can't see anything.
and he's making these little sounds, and you're like, he's a miracle. And they're like, no, like his insides are kind of outside, and stuff. And so, but I remember Zach and asking him, like, you're praying for healing, and then, what do you pray for when that's not going to be the thing? Do you pray that God takes him quickly? Do you pray for more time? And hearing Zach talk about it, where, he now is so grateful for the 36 hours. Like, you might feel like you were robbed, I needed more time, but then his perspective changed on it, that he got 36 hours with his son to just hold him and love him that he didn't think he was ever going to get, because they thought it was going to be stillborn, And so his gratitude changed based on the circumstances. And I think that's the tricky thing of prayer, how we keep having to change our prayer based on the circumstance. And I still wrestle through some of that. And then actually, we're going to have this guy, Matt Smallbone, on. He's part of the, For King and Country Guys family, and he pastors a church here in Nashville. And we're going to have him on tomorrow to talk about prayer and like his take on it. And he wrote a book about it. And I'm fascinated about this. And so I cannot wait to talk with him, because I think I'm going to learn some stuff too tomorrow. So there you go. All right. Do you have any birthdays here, Lady Rock, that we can close out with, or did you catch them all up the other day?
I got one of them.
All right, let's go.
Mandy wants to wish her daughter Natalie a happy birthday. Said she is kind and spicy, caring and sarcastic. She is double digits. She's 10 years old.
Oh, what a good year. 10. Oh, you got the world by the string there, like everything's good at 10.
Let's see. Let me think. Let me look at these questions. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, Rebecca. Rebecca has a question that has to do with with radio rental. Okay,
Rebecca, what is wrong with you?
Listen. Okay, so if you've listened to the podcast for a while, then you've probably heard me talk about radio rental.
Worst podcast ever.
However, I am going to really specify here. It's a podcast that I really like, but there are stories in there that it's not all of them are family friendly.
Right.
So take that for what it's worth. But anyways, I love when all of it is actual people sharing real stories of weird things that happen to them that they can't explain. And I love telling these stories. After I hear them, I tell them to Wally.
I hate them.
And he hates them because a lot of the time there is no closure. You just don't know what that was.
Yep. And you're just like, oh, that's an interesting story. Well, it's not. No, it's not an interesting story at all. If it had an end, it'd be like going to a movie and you're about, it's an hour-and-a-half movie and you're about an hour into it and then they just stop.
No, it's kind of like a horror film where it's like there's a person that's out there trying to get you and you think you killed him off, but then at the very end you see him walking.
But at least that's conclusion. At least you have that.
Think?
Yeah. At least you have that. You're like, oh, I know what's coming next. Like, at least you have that. Radio rental just ends. It just ends in the middle of a.
I mean, but
this is exactly it. Here.
The mystery is what I like about
it. Yeah. Here's analogy of radio rental. Radio rental is like. That's exactly what it's like. That's exactly what it's like. It's like you start a sentence or a statement, and then you just don't finish it.
Stop it. Anyways, I will also say that not every episode is great. Like, for instance, the one I listened to recently, I told Wally when we were on this trip, I said, you're in luck because this recent episode, neither of the stories were any good, so I'm not going to retell them
Thank you. Thank you for that.
But anyways, okay, there's one called, let me just say this. Yeah. There's one called the crematorium or something like that. I think it's episode 15. And it's about a guy that works at a funeral home. That one is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I told Wally that one, and there is no closure. So
no closure again.
Brace yourself. Okay. Her question is, she said she listened to Radio Rental. She said, I'm a fan as well. Have you or Wally had a radio rental experience of your own? Like anything mysterious that you were like, wait a minute, what was that?
Today.
What? No.
Yeah. I had people in my house yesterday, and today there was an umbrella that I never use. I forgot it's even there. And today it was laid out on the floor sideways by my door. So I think, okay, that's one thing. That's whatever. Okay. Could have just fallen. I never heard it. Then I go out to my truck, which I've left outside because we're doing the water damage in my thing, and the mounting unit for my phone that suction cups to the window, it was on the dashboard. It's never come loose. It's one of the best suction cup ones.
Everything's falling apart around you.
Yeah, and so it's just laying on the dashboard, and I'm like, that's weird. Then I'm like, did somebody get in my car and then try to get into my house? Or did they get into my house and I'm headed for work and I've left a murderer in my house? And then I thought, should I call my wife? I'm like, I don't want to wake her up.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. She texted me, so she's alive. So that's good.
And that's like a radio rental for sure. Where you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Don't know. Weird, right?
Oh, gosh. I wish I did. Maybe that's why I listen to it, because I don't have anything in my life. I say I wish. I don't.
Yeah.
But I have definitely, there was one that I heard recently about this woman that moved into a place and realized there was someone that had been living there the whole time. Like,
that's creepy.
Taking her food, her water, things like that. But she thought it was her roommates. But it turns out there was actually a homeless guy living up in the attic.
Okay, at least you have a conclusion.
Well, that's what we think it is.
Oh, I want that as a conclusion.
Anyways, it's definitely made me think.
Yeah.
Like, what's up there?
Yeah. Like, I think a guy hid under my house one time.
Why?
I think a guy was being chased by the police. They had a police helicopter out. And my door to my crawl space was off.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. And you have to. It's so hard to get this door to lock. and it was, and because I had been in there like earlier, and I know I closed it back. I remember jiggling it to get it closed back. And so it wasn't just open, it was open and out in my yard. And so I think that this guy, I think they were looking for somebody, and I think he hid under my house and then took off. Yeah. I
When was
truly,
that?
A few months ago.
What? No, it was not.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a few months ago.
Wally, why didn't you tell us?
I have told this story. You never listen to me.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
No,
and
you
so
haven't.
I really think it was. And then so I go under my house 2 days ago, and that the bar that locks it, the little latch that's so hard to latch, because after that happened, I latched it good, was unlatched again.
No, it was not.
Honest, truthful. And I'm like, what in the world? So then I go under the house, and I'm with a flashlight looking like, has anybody been here? Are there different footprints in the dust?
Yeah.
Or is there food down here or whatever? So yeah, I don't know what I got going on.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, honest, truthful.
You need to be
I
on
should
radio
do radio rental, yes.
We don't know what's going on.
Exactly. And how horrible is the end of that story?
No. Let me tell you one that isn't me, but it was from a friend of mine. So a friend of mine, her husband does construction, and they were working on a house, and it was an old home, okay, out in the boonies. They're working on the porch. They dig up the flooring, and underneath they found a well.
Okay.
Or like a huge hole.
Okay.
Perhaps a grave. We're not sure. But they found horse remains under there.
Oh, that's weird.
Like a hoof.
Yeah.
And so did someone bury a horse underneath this porch?
Probably.
And why?
They probably buried it just there before, and then the house was built on it. Yeah, I could
Maybe.
see that. Yeah, especially if it's out in the boonies. Yeah, horses just like, hey, where'd it go? Oh, we buried it. Like they do stuff like that all the time.
It's hard to bury a horse, though. Remember your favorite, Nate Bargatze,
Yes.
has talked about this.
Woo, that is so hard to do. Yeah. All right, well, I think
We've
it's
covered
hard.
a lot.
Yeah.
We've gone from, what was his name? Scott Pelley to buried horses.
There you go. You got your money's worth today on this podcast. And at least some conclusions here and there. So, all right, that's going to do it for your Aftercast. As always, thanks for being a potty.